Welcome to the Sports Porch Philadelphia. Yes, this is the Sports Porch Philadelphia. And if you're watching us on Facebook, you are watching us live all over the world, not only on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, all over the world.
I don't know if they are watching on X. I don't see X.
I don't know. I'm a little worried here. We'll be live on X in a moment on the Sports Porch X. So,
Chris, for those of you who don't know, Chris is known as the technical director, and he's not exactly the best at his job. So
yeah,
he's going to work on some technical difficulties.
Well, we have a staff of one,
right,
and that's me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would say, considering that I did not go to school for this,
yeah,
I do a goddamn good job. I don't know about you.
Nobody goes to school anymore, Klein.
Really? Are you saying I should have just never went to school? Which is probably true.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I did. I was there, but in spirit.
You were there, but just not in body.
All right. Well, we digress. So we're going to drop the Sports Porch Philadelphia right after the show in podcast form on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get
your freaking podcast.
Absolutely. And tonight, of course, we have Rube, who's the Philly guy living in Texas. Down below me, we have the Grand Schwabini to my right. And of course, I'm your technical director. What are we going to do? Well, it's that time. It's football time.
It's football season. Game on Friday.
Absolutely. And
in frickin' Brazil, and I got to find out how I'm going to watch it.
Yep. Well, just all you have to do is get a little peacock. Right?
I don't know if I want a peacock.
Well, my wife would like a peacock, but I mean the bird, the actual bird.
Sure.
She does. She loves peacock.
She's got problems.
So one more reminder before we really get started and sound professional is you can follow the Sports Porch Philadelphia on YouTube. It's at Philadelphia Sports Porch. Join us there. Leave a comment. Spread it around. Would love to hear what you have to say. The first thing that the Grand Schwabini wants to talk about tonight is what we just referenced. That is page one, the Eagles-Packers matchup. As we all know, it's in Brazil, so it's not really a home game. Take it away, Grand Schwabini.
Right. So we got that week one matchup. We did our predictions last week. Rube and you both had it as a loss. I had it as an Eagles victory. But let's just talk about it for a couple minutes here, Rube. What do you think are the keys to victory?
Well, first and foremost, Schwabi, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you know any Portuguese whatsoever?
Zero.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And
is that what they talk in Brazil?
That is
they
what
speak Portuguese.
Okay.
That is what they speak there. So
okay.
Listen, when we talked about this the other week and I predicted the loss, I said, first and foremost, Hurts hasn't thrown a live pass yet. So usually when we see him coming off of some time down, we see some rustiness there. I think second of all, have you listened to the news? Nobody wants to be there.
I know. Yeah, I've seen that too.
Which is concerning. So, you've got some of your star players who don't want to be there. It's game one. He hasn't thrown a live pass. So my expectations, quite frankly, are quite low. And so I almost said to Leslie, I'm like, hey, why don't we just go out Friday night? Because I'm a little nervous to watch this. So not expecting a whole lot. What about you?
Well, it is weird. I mean, they said to AJ Brown made a comment, and his comment was, yeah, we just got a whole list of things that we're not supposed to do. So I think I'm just going to stay in my room. And they were like, well, what's a list of things you're not supposed to do? And he's like, well, it's like everything. He's like, we're not supposed to, if we're walking outside, we shouldn't have our cell phone in our hand. He's like, so I don't even know what to make of that. That's what he said.
Well, they're going to be overly cautious. That's the thing. Right. I mean, it's not like it's bad enough when a celebrity or sports figure, is out in public in here in America. So you're in a foreign country. They don't speak the language. They could be taken advantage of, and lots of people, even though, I don't know what kind of viewership the NFL gets in Brazil on a regular basis. I'm sure it's not like here, but it's a big deal. So I think it's more about, just protecting the brand and protecting the players and like just, you're here to play a game.
Kidnapping's a thing down there. It's
Right,
and that too.
yeah.
Right, and these guys have lots of money to pay the kidnappers off.
Yeah, and here's Steve. Of course, he's always got to get his 2 cents in because this is really.
Well, I think it's true though.
The NFL doesn't care about players' feelings or their health.
I mean, if you really think about it, though, like the whole idea of this Brazil game is really stupid. Like look, the NFL in Europe actually makes sense, right? Because number one, half the countries in Europe, everybody speaks English. London certainly watches the NFL. They could conceivably, form a division out there and have 3 or 4 teams out there. There's programs, for example, in Germany where, folks are playing football in high school. It makes sense. Like Brazil makes no sense at all. And the other thing too is the place that they're going, Sao Paulo, is it called?
Sao Paulo,
right?
Sao Paulo, yep.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, if you are watching at home or listening, and you are in love with the beauty and the majesticness of Sao Paulo, I apologize. But to me, it seems like it's like they chose the hole in the wall. Like why didn't you go to Rio? Where you would think that there'd be like better security and a lot more going on. It could be a lot more festive. And, I don't know. Like I heard that there's like wildfires out where this is. They're saying there's a chance that the air quality could be really bad. Like,
well, I mean, it's not like the air quality in Philly is any better.
That's,
I'll give you an answer there, guys. 12 million people who are potential viewers of the NFL live in Sao Paulo.
Yeah,
so
I was just looking that up. Yeah, it's a city of 12 million people, so it's not really a hole in the wall.
Well, it's a hole in the wall in terms of quality.
I think you're just. I think you're out to lunch, my friend. Seriously. And it is south of Rio de Janeiro. Looks like maybe 2 hours, I would guess.
It just seems to me it seems unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, I don't. They test marketed the NFL in Mexico, in Mexico City. Are they still doing that? I don't think so. But Mexico City has become a virtual battleground now, so that's probably why. Right. And they've always wanted to expand. Looks like Cedric Mullins just hit a home run for the Orioles. Sorry, boys. Just keeping an eye on your potential World Series matchup here for the Phillies.
Well, that is, at least you brought it back to Philadelphia in some way, shape, or form. That's actually one of our technical director's weaknesses. Is he just tends to talk about things that are of interest to himself, and not necessarily what the show should be about.
Pot calling the kettle black here.
Anyway, let's get back to
Chris.
Chris.
Yeah, Rube.
I love you, man. Thanks for doing thanks for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what.
I don't
just be me and you from now.
I don't appreciate you as much. But let's go back to
Schwabi, who wins? Tell me about the game. What do you think is going to happen?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are the perceivable problems with the game, right? So, number one, how are you going to stop Jordan Love, right? He seems to drop back, and if he's got time, he can pick a whole defense apart, just like the way he did against Dallas in the playoff game last year. So, look, our defense right now is a work in progress. I mean, it seems like they've gotten better. They've got some better linebackers, some better secondary players. But at the same time, they have to, play together and learn how to play together. And some of the guys are young. Like you're gonna have a rookie out there in Quinyon Mitchell. Maybe Cooper DeJean is in the game, and he's a rookie, right? Kaylee Ringo might get a lot of playing time, and he's a second-year player. He's almost like a rookie, right? So, there's going to be a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball that, they still really have to earn their stripes. I mean, I think the talent is there, but, it's very possible that Jordan Love could pick them apart. And so if that happens, then you're talking about a shootout type of game, right? And so, the Eagles offense is going to have to put up like this is one of those things where, since we're playing a good team who could match us in a shootout, I mean, you might have to score like 38 points to win the game, right? And then, and I know that, Chris is probably thinking, well, everybody's going to be rusty. It's probably going to be more of a defensive game than you think.
That's what I think.
And it might be, but the bottom line is you got to get pressure on Jordan Love. You got to eliminate big plays, and you've got to be in the flow offensively. We can't have 3 and outs. We can't have folks jumping off sides. It's going to be a big prove it game for Cam Jurgens at center, making the right calls at the line in tandem with Jalen Hurts. So, those would be my keys to the game. What about you? What do you think?
To me, to your point, Nakobe Dean, first of all, makes it more than one half without getting hurt. I think we're in good shape. I think if he has 10 tackles, 2 for loss, we're in good shape. But man, our linebacker core, again, makes me really, really nervous. And if Love is going to throw to his tight end over the middle and we can't defend that third receiver or the tight end, it could be a really long day for us. So yeah, I don't see great things happening this game. And I think the other piece of this is, like I said earlier, I don't think we want to be there. I think their heads are already to the next game. And, you got to have your head in the game and you got to be ready to roll. And it just doesn't, I don't hear any of that stuff from the Packers. I hear it all from our sideline. Now, could the MVP of the game be Big Dom protecting all our guys from getting kidnapped? I don't know. But, we'll see.
Right.
I saw a T-shirt that said Big Dom Revenge Tour.
So I think this is going to be this game's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a defensive game based on errors, turnovers, or it's going to be a total shootout.
So let me.
Well, go ahead.
Let me get this straight.
Yeah,
what you're saying is this is either going to be. This is deep insight. This is either going to be a defensive game or an offensive game.
Exactly.
One of the two.
That's what I see happening.
One of the two.
I'm usually right,
but nothing in between.
Yeah, nothing in between.
Okay.
No,
it may even be an offensive game.
Yes.
What I mean, yeah, it's got a bigger. It's got a bigger.
No, but I get what you're saying. It's going to be like a 13-10 type game or
right.
38-35.
Right. Because it's either going to be just the Eagles. It sounds like they don't want to be there, but look, the media plays this shit up because they need something to talk about.
They do.
So
at the same time, like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith made comments seeming like they don't want to be there. But I'm sure they both want to score touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it's more. It's more about the fact that they're like, Jesus, we gotta
be on a plane for.
We gotta travel all this way, and then we can't even we can't enjoy ourselves there. It's like we're being cooped up and then go play football in a foreign stadium and then get back on the plane and come home.
Right.
It's not like going. I'm sure the rules in Europe are similar, but since it's the first time, it's probably not quite as restrictive.
Let's just hope the field's not all messed up.
Yeah, probably won't.
It can't be any worse than that Super Bowl we were in.
Yeah, we can't. I don't want another Sodfather episode.
Yeah, right.
Do you like? So, last question about this game. Do you like the white and black uniforms? Have you seen them?
I do, actually.
They're okay. I mean, the thing is maybe it's just me and my ability to see colors. When I see that Eagles black helmet, it still sort of looks like it's just like a deep midnight green to me. Like it doesn't really look black to me.
Well, maybe they snuck a little green tint.
There might be some tint.
Yeah, I could see.
I don't know.
I could see that happening.
I don't know.
Because from afar it'll look black, but close up it's not quite black. Almost like that midnight or really deep navy blue.
Right.
I feel like they're probably trying these uniforms out, these helmets out for the new name change to the Philadelphia Generals. It's coming down the line, guys.
No, it's not. It's not
for you guys.
All right, what's the next page?
Well, Steve, of course, says just put pressure on Love and he'll make mistakes or score the first 14 points, and the Eagles lose if Jacobs run for 100 yards. So I hope the Eagles win, but I feel like Green Bay is on a roll. They think they're better than they are, and the Eagles are kind of like we said. It's not an up game for them. They're kind of like bummed out. Like it's a home game, but it's not a home game. Ooh. So that was page 1, the Eagles-Packers matchup. Page 2, we're going to talk football a little bit more here on the Sports Porch Philadelphia. The Eagles have named their captains.
Yes.
That sounds to me like you guys have opinions on this. I mean, I generally never have an opinion on who's named the captain of a team. I just don't. In professional sports, you're all supposed to be professional. Well, you're Antonio Brown.
The only change at captain this year, of course, Jason Kelce no longer playing. And so taking Jason Kelce's spot is Jordan Mailata, which was interesting. We heard a lot of good things about his leadership. And so, your returning captains, Jalen Hurts, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, Darius Slay, and Jake the Make Elliott. So there was one guy who did not get a second-year captain, which kind of surprised me. I sort of feel like you get it once, you should be kind of getting it every year. Devontae Smith was AB. Who was he talking about? Is he talking about Antonio Brown?
Yeah, no. I know AB was never a captain. TD.
Yeah.
What I mean is that AB was a super professional player. That's all. It doesn't matter. He's off track. He's
off track.
He didn't understand me.
About.
Yeah.
But Devontae Smith was a captain last year, and he was not named a captain this year. I don't really know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
Or is it just they could only name so many, and just Mailata got a few more votes?
It almost kind of feels like we got too many. And I didn't know that to be the case. That's a good one. To me, Devontae is more captain-like than AJ, especially with the way they behaved last year.
That's kind of the way I feel. Yeah,
I don't like that. But who I want to see be a captain, and he was going to be on my top 10, and I just didn't put it on there because the ridicule would have just been too much. What about Rick Lovato? What about the long snapper? How important is he to our success?
I'm pissed you didn't put him on there. This is all about ridicule, Rube. I mean, come on. Throw that sack up on the table and let's get this out here.
I will say this, and knock on wood, hopefully nothing bad happens. He's probably been on the team for like 6-7 years. I can't recall a bad snap by Rick Lovato.
I concur.
Yeah, I mean, he's good.
Maybe we need to start like a campaign for like Rick Lovato love on the Sports Porch. What do you think?
Yeah. Let's do it.
And also, too, as the snapper, he sometimes gets down there and makes a tackle or two.
Actually, what we should do is add a Lovato alert.
Lovato alert.
Yeah, we've done that for other
shows.
On other shows we had for Pittsburgh we had
Rick Lovato a shirt. Look, Rick Lovato alert. Over under 1 tackle.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That would be great. Lovato update.
Yeah.
How many times does the holder have to actually turn the laces out?
I don't know.
Every time.
So what do you think, Rube? Rube, are you happy with the captains? You feel good about it?
I feel fine with the captains. Like the only one AJ's got to show me a little bit better leadership, both on and off the field. Other than that, I'm fine.
Yeah, I think with AJ, it's a couple things. I think number one, I think his teammates really do like him, and that's why they vote for him. And number two, it wouldn't surprise me if, upper management of the Eagles was whispering into people's ears because you want AJ to feel special, and if he feels special, he's happy.
Yeah, he's got
Oh,
What the hell
over.
was that?
okay. I don't know. Just a computer issue. That's okay. Keep going, guys. Sorry.
All right, what's the next page?
All right. So everybody's happy with the captains. Again, I've never been a captain kind of guy. So we're going to move right on to our NFL predictions. If you're watching us live, the Sports Porch Philadelphia on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or X, thank you. And remember, we do drop the show as a podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get
Your freaking podcast.
I knew I'd wake him up if I did that. So NFL predictions. So how are we running this? We're doing our
We're gonna do by division,
right.
and then we're gonna pick the two in the championship game in both spots, Super Bowl matchup, and winner.
Oh boy.
All right.
Okay.
So, Rob, let's have you start off. AFC East, who comes out on top?
AFC East, Miami comes out on top. I think
right.
I think Buffalo struggles to make the playoffs this year.
I agree. We're in agreement. All right, AFC North.
Hey, wait a minute. What about mine?
Well, do you want to give them or?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Give them. Okay.
Yeah. What did you say? AFC East?
AFC East.
Yeah, you said Miami. You guys said Miami,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
Man. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they pull it out.
Okay. All right. AFC North. Who you got, Rob?
I have Cincinnati winning and Baltimore coming in second.
Okay. I got Baltimore winning the division.
I actually have Baltimore as well.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I've watched them too much, and since he just doesn't have me convinced that they're going to bounce back this year and be that great.
Okay. AFC South. Who you got?
Those Houston Texans.
And I have Houston as well.
I think that the Texans and C.J. Stroud, he's the real deal, but I am going to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars,
the Jags,
much better year this year.
The Jags.
Yeah, the Texans will come in. They will be second in the division and looking at a wild card.
You're saying you want Philly? Let's do it.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Fighting Petersons. That's right.
Okay. AFC West. Couldn't be easier.
Wait, let me think about that for a second. Oh, yeah, Kansas City.
Yep, me too.
Definitely the Broncos. Yep. Of course, Kansas City. Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
All right, and now you got to name your 3 wild card teams.
All right, you guys want me to go first?
Go for it.
Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville,
Mm-hmm.
and the fighting Harbaughs, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh,
that's a good.
Rube thinks that Harbaugh will make them a better team. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can't get in trouble here as much as he did in college football.
My wild cards, I got the Jets, the Jags, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh my!
I do.
Oh my!
I do. I got them in there.
Funny. I was thinking about doing that too.
Wow.
Wow. Seriously. My wild cards. I'm going to have the Dolphins.
Uh-huh.
I am going to have. Oh God. I already said the Texans, the Dolphins, the Texans, and I just can't pick the Steelers. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Rube. I'm going to say Harbaugh makes a big difference with Bobby Herbert or whatever his name is, Justin Herbert.
Hebert.
I always want to call him Bobby Hebert.
Yeah.
That's just a problem I have. So who did I say? I said the Dolphins, the Texans, and the Chargers.
Okay. All right, let's go to the NFC East. Who you got, Rube?
I am picking the Birds.
The Birds. I'm also picking the Birds.
Well, I mean, at the risk of getting flogged, I'm going to pick the Birds too.
Okay.
That's
What
why.
did you just tell me 2 minutes ago? Put it up on the table and take
There
the
you go.
ridicule, Chris.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. No, I actually do think I think the Eagles are going to run away with this division.
By the way,
the Cowboys they'll hang around, but
by the way, so at risk of getting flogged,
Yeah.
define flog.
beat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a word? FLOGGED.
Verb. You want to sell this for us?
Is it a word?
It is a word, even going back to the
Okay.
Roman times.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All
I mean,
right.
the guy knew the population of Sao Paulo without even looking it up.
That's true. The guy knows stuff. All right. NFC North.
Well, at the risk of getting flogged by Leslie Rubenstein, I will take the Detroit Lions going away.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, that's like, we get that.
Yeah.
It's either lay your sack up on the table or have it cut off later tonight. So we understand. Go ahead, Schwaber.
I'm feeling a lot of love, so I've got Green Bay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Sure do.
I am not a fan of this. Is a tough division because the Bears are not going to be good. The Vikings are not going to be good. I'm not a Jordan Love believer yet. And Detroit, I mean, I love their coach and I love the team that they've put together. But I just feel like last year was their shot.
Yeah, that was their year.
Yeah, but that being said, I'm going with the Packers. Man, I hate saying that.
Green Bay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. NFC South group.
Boy, this is like cream of the crap. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I saw this Bijan Robinson play at Texas, and he is for real. So I like what they've done with that team. Give me Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Hot Atlanta.
I think Baker Mayfield is on his way back up.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they've got a good running game.
So you're saying the Bucks?
I know they lost a little bit on defense, but yeah, I think the Bucks are going to come out on top. I do not believe in Kirk Cousins finishing this season. I think he gets injured.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. San Francisco's division, the NFC West. Any other takers?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, me too.
Yeah.
What do you got?
It's got to be the 49ers. I mean, it'd be crazy to think about that anybody
Right.
else is going to win.
All right. So your three wild card teams in the NFC, Rube.
Give me the Cowboys.
Uh-huh.
Give me the Packers.
Uh-huh.
Give me the Rams.
Okay. I've got the Lions, the Rams, and the Cowboys.
I'm going to go the Giants, the Bears, and the Panthers. Should have seen Schwaber when he looked up and had to add a little excitement. No, I really mean it. I too am going to go Cowboys, Lions, and that third team is tough. I think the Seahawks make a push here.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they have a shot.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about who's going to be in the championship game in the AFC, the last two teams remaining, Rube. Who are they?
Kansas City versus the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, that's an interesting.
That's
an interesting pick. Kansas City, of course, makes sense. Miami, boy, they always screw up.
They do,
in the playoffs.
But they all screw up until they don't.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. You never know. They got that like second grade teacher as coach.
Yeah, I mean it's
who they just extended.
Right.
Yeah. Did you see the memes on him showing him like when he first became the coach and he looked like that incredible nerd, and then like that press conference he gave the other day where he was all slicked out, he looked like he'd been snorting coke and hanging out in the strip bars in Miami. Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see that?
No,
really? No. Oh my god, it was hilarious. Yeah, as soon as I saw him come to the podium, I was like, this dude's been in Miami way too long. So anyway, okay. Is it my turn?
No,
it's your turn.
My turn. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to say it's going to be too hard for Kansas City to roll three in a row. So I'm going to say it is going to be the Ravens against the Texans.
Wow. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking everybody's looking at Kansas City and saying, oh my God, their receivers dropped so many balls last year, and it's really sneaky. The fact that their defense was the number 2 defense, nobody realizes that. And I don't see it happening this year. It's really hard to get back to the Super Bowl 3 times, let alone win it.
Right.
And so I think coming out of the AFC, I think Lamar he's gonna finally get over the hump as long as Derrick Henry stays healthy. And as far as the other team goes, man, that's really tough. I'm going to have to go with the Texans as well.
Okay. All right.
Did I even pick them to make a wild card? I did. Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
yes,
good.
You did. Okay.
I'm glad you're writing this down.
All right. NFC, Rube. Who do you got?
NFC Championship game. I'm going. Was this a rematch last year? Was it San Francisco and Detroit last year? And,
Yes.
And Detroit went for it on like 100 fourth downs and shit the bed. Yeah, I'm going to call it a rematch of last year's championship game.
San Fran, Detroit. Okay.
Go ye of little faith.
I'm gonna go for a rematch of the divisional round from last year of Green Bay versus San Francisco.
You guys just don't want to be homers, do you?
Well, I actually had the Eagles going to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And I was right for 11 weeks.
Right. No. Well.
But then it fell apart.
Wasn't like, yeah. Okay. All right. I said it before we did our show. I've been saying it the last couple of weeks, so I can't change my mind. I have the championship game being a rematch of the Eagles and the Niners.
Okay, that'd be fun.
That's where I think it's going.
With a fully healthy Brock Purdy.
Yeah, the only wild card in this for me is the Cowboys, because Dak Prescott he only has to do one more thing, and that is play well in the playoffs. He's really good in the regular season.
Right.
So, sure. But I don't think this is the year either.
Okay. All right. So who you got in the Super Bowl, Rube? Who's playing on the big day?
The big day. I've got San Francisco going back because I just think they're too stacked on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
And I have them playing the coke snorting Miami guy, the Miami Dolphins.
There it is.
Tua?
He's talking about the coach.
Tua's like one play away from being dead.
Yeah. Yeah. That coach is like one bump away from going into cardiac arrest.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I have got a Baltimore Green Bay Super Bowl.
Yeah, wow. That would be one of the least watched Super Bowls of all time. Well, no, not with Green Bay. Right. No. I've got a Baltimore Philadelphia Super Bowl.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've got the I-95 Bowl.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. That's what I think.
All right. And Rube, your Super Bowl winner is?
I think San Francisco does it this year.
Oh, that's just horrible news. That's horrible news.
It's horrible news, but man, they've got a great roster. And
the 40 Winers?
The 40 Winers, they got back. And
are they going to whine again this year?
I don't know.
Well, here is the serious question, though. Honestly, if I was taking every single thing into the equation, minus one thing, I would have San Francisco winning the Super Bowl. But do you know who is the biggest choke artist of all time?
I think you're gonna say Mr. Schottenheimer or Shanahan.
Shanahan is like world class horrible. Now, hey, great. He has a great offense. They score a whole bunch of points and they have a great record every year. Congratulations. He is so bad in the playoffs. Think about it. He screwed up the 28-3 with the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, totally screwed that up. He screwed up last year when they had a chance to win. He screwed up a couple of years before that when they had a chance to win. So he's blown the Super Bowl 3 times. And if you want to even go back to last year, they could have lost to Green Bay and Detroit. And they had to pull off miracles to win those games. So is he getting them ready to play playoff games? I say not very well.
Or I mean, you can look at it that way, and everything at the end of the day ends up in the head coach's lap. But I mean, he's calling plays; they have to execute the play.
Yeah, but the other way of looking at it is, you can either say it's Shanahan that did this each time, or they just had really bad luck.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a fan of Shanahan.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be.
I'm just.
And even just little things like remember when the Eagles beat the 49ers in the Brock Purdy-less game, right? It was that coaching decision. When Devontae Smith caught that ball and he didn't really catch it, and he didn't get the challenge on time. Like, to me, that's your head coach. He just comes up small in the biggest of games.
Let me tell you something, though. I hear what you're saying, and to this point, that is 100% truth. But I think you learn from your failures, you grow, and you figure it out.
You could become an Andy Reid, is what you're saying.
You could become an Andy. That's exactly right. That's exactly
right. Andy Reid was awful in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden he was good. But that was because he had Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think that also Schwaber's a little jaded here because of
jade.
Hold on, there's a lot of jade.
No jade.
Just let me get it out.
All right.
There's a lot of jade here, because when the Eagles beat the Purdy-less Niners, the only thing you heard from 49ers fans and anybody who wasn't really an Eagles fan was, well, of course they won. Purdy wasn't playing. Right. So it's almost like the haters out there are like, that really wasn't a legitimate championship game win. And Schwab has internalized that and taken that to heart. So his hatred of the 49ers has grown, much like the Grinch's heart grew or shrank 3 sizes. You know what I'm saying? So this is why we get this. This is why we get this.
Well, I just think that the 49ers are a classless team.
See, there you go. That's exactly right. And you should be familiar with that, because a lot of people thought the Eagles were a classless team when Buddy Ryan was the coach.
Well, when Buddy Ryan was, sure.
So, it takes one to know one. So anyway, okay. So where were we? I can't even remember where we were. Who did you have winning the Super Bowl?
Rube had San Francisco.
Right. That's right. That's why we got all this.
Okay, yeah. Okay. In my Baltimore versus Green Bay, I have Lamar Jackson getting over the hump, and it's another Baltimore John Harbaugh Super Bowl. Sorry, Steelers fans.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you pick the Ravens.
You've got Baltimore, Philly.
I've got Baltimore, Philly, and I'm going with Philly, boys. I'm going with Philly. Yep. I think Lamar Jackson comes up big in the playoffs. They have Derrick Henry, but in the Super Bowl, the bright lights, they get in the way. Philly's already been there. They had a really disappointing season last year in which they looked primed to go back. And they got a new stud running back. They got some guys on defense. The coach, I think I'm still looking at these stories online about, this rift between Sirianni and Hurts. And I'm thinking, God, can we please talk about something else? Until I see them screaming at each other on the sidelines, screw all that. Right. You know what I mean? They put it together. They win the big one. They bring the Lombardi back to Philly.
That would be great. I would love for you to be right once in your life.
There you go. It's exactly right. Yes.
Hey, I'm just trying to. Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. You guys have been doing this for a while. Did you do the same thing last year? And how close were you?
Can't remember. We've done it every year.
We did. I was extraordinarily not close.
I think you picked the Colts.
I think I picked the Colts to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh, no. Actually, that wasn't that year. No,
that was the year before.
I picked the year. When when did I pick them when Carson Wentz went to the Colts? Maybe
No,
that
no,
year?
no, no, no.
When Matt Ryan
That's
went to
right.
the
When
Colts.
Ryan went
When
to the
Matt
Colts,
Ryan went to the
he
Colts,
picked the
I
Colts to
picked
win the
Colts to win
Super
the Super
Bowl.
Bowl. That was
Yeah.
a disaster.
I have a notebook somewhere with all
Yeah.
of it in it. I just don't have
No,
it on my desk right now.
last year I picked a rematch of Philly Kansas City
You did.
with Philly winning, but Kansas City ended up winning. So I had one of the two.
Yeah.
You got half of it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who. I think I picked Kansas City to win
Did you?
it last year.
Maybe.
But in my mind, that was an easy pick.
Mhm.
I just felt like they were rolling,
Mhm.
you
But
know,
you
and then
got
they got off to a slow start.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and
Ruben.
they got more. Kansas City. You couldn't name a receiver outside of Kelsey last year from them, and now they got Xavier Worthy. And they've given Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes more toys to play with. Their
Right.
defense is
Marquise
still be
Brown.
good. Hollywood. I would say they're probably more
Juju's
of a
back.
favorite. Yeah, Juju. I think they're more of a favorite this year than they were last year, and I got to tell you, it's just like you guys said, they suck until they're not. Mahomes is the greatest thing ever until he's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. And he is definitely otherworldly.
I mean, I just think about it like from the the aspect of like as great as Tom Brady was, he made 10 Super Bowls in what 20 some years. So even at that level of greatness, it's still hard to make it to the Super Bowl.
Well, and Mahomes
know.
has been in 4 Super Bowls and 6 and won
Right.
3, right?
Right.
He's slightly ahead of the pace.
Right. He is. He is.
Slightly ahead of the pace.
He is. But I think he's had so much so early. I think it's just kind of like due for a step back. Like,
I don't disagree with that.
like there's little things that we don't know, but maybe they would have a huge impact. Like L'Jarius Sneed was their number one corner last year. He's not there anymore.
There are
So-
10 other guys on
Right.
offense and 11 other guys on defense plus a roster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You never know. Anything could happen. And of course, when you make predictions, you're making the assumption that everybody stays healthy,
Right,
or
exactly.
if there's an injury, whoever fills in correctly.
Exactly. That's just like the kind of thing when Steve was saying before, like Chargers have third easiest schedule.
Right.
Well, like you can have a schedule that doesn't look easy, and then all of a sudden, due to injury, it's easy.
Right.
Like like for example, the Steelers last year got 2 Bengals games, no Joe Barrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And they went 5-1 in the division.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's exactly
you
right.
have stuff like that happens.
Okay. We got an extra. We got an in-between page, in between the fold here. These two guys are going to do some fantasy sleeper picks here on the Sports Porch Philadelphia, which you can grab as a podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And of course, if you're watching us live, drop a comment. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So I'm going to let you guys do this.
Okay.
You
All
go.
right. So we each came up. We know that most of you have already had your drafts. If not, your draft is like tomorrow. Like
mine
Rube's is.
mine is tomorrow night. Yep.
Super late, Rube. And who's this league with, by the way?
Oh, this is college friends and some family of college friend.
All right. Okay. All right. How long you been in the league?
This is my first year in this league.
Oh, first year. Oh,
Yeah.
new blood. Okay.
New blood, fresh meat.
So we're picking 3 players that we're calling sleepers. Doesn't mean that they're nobodies, but it could be somebody that's going to come out of nowhere. It could be somebody that's sort of like a solid, mediocre NFL player that we're expecting to take a leap, right?
Mhm.
You want to go with your first one, and then I'll do one.
Yeah, that sounds good. So my first one is Josh Palmer. So the Chargers have essentially they got rid of Keenan Allen. I forget who their other big receiver was,
Mike
and
Williams.
Mike Williams, and so Palmer's wide receiver one there. I think certainly with Herbert, very good quarterback's got to show it. He's got a good coach now. Harbaugh is a run the ball guy, but listen, in this league, you have to throw the ball to ultimately win. Give me Josh Palmer, wide receiver one from those LA Chargers.
I like that.
Is he really wide receiver one? They don't have. Did they draft a first round receiver or anything?
I think he is wide receiver one. I didn't recognize
Yeah.
the other guys on that team.
I mean, I'm a little jaded on Josh Palmer because we picked him up like midway through the year last year, and he was like average.
So you're familiar with being
But
jaded.
no, but
This is we're
yeah,
finding out.
but Rube does make a good point. You know, he doesn't have the other two guys catching the ball anymore.
Right.
So it's a good pick. Interesting. All right, so my first sleeper is Zach Moss, running back one of the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, he was, you know, look, when he got into games and got time, he was really pretty good, right? And, you know, now he's going to a team, there's no more Joe Mixon. We know that in Cincinnati's offense, they like to give their back the ball a lot and also throw screen passes to them. So I think Zach Moss could be on target for like a 1,200 yard year and maybe even like 35 catches.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Well,
Thoughts?
we liked that pick so much yesterday. We picked him up in the late rounds.
We sure did.
Yep.
He's on our team.
Yeah, proof is in the pudding, boys.
Hold on.
Let
me write that one down and get it ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, come on, write
what?
it down. Zach, Z-A-C-K. All right, Moss, like, you know, Moss.
What's your thoughts on Zach Moss?
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the interesting thing is, I don't remember where I read this, but essentially they picked up a couple offensive linemen in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
I think first and foremost is to protect Burrow. And listen, if you're picking up highly touted offensive linemen, couldn't tell you the name right now. You know, that opens up holes to run with. So, like we talked
Right.
about, everything starts with the lines of scrimmage. They strengthen their line of scrimmage. If he's the number one back, I think it is a very good pick.
Thank you. Nice to be validated. All right, Rube, number two.
No jade there.
So, Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Chicago Bears. So
their first round pick.
Yeah.
Their first round pick after Caleb Williams. Dude is a stud. He's strong. He's built to play in cold weather. He's kind of like an AJ Brown type of receiver. And you know, I don't necessarily see them go deep in the wind in Chicago, but they'll throw in between routes, and this guy is hard to bring down. So, you know, you got Caleb Williams throwing to another rookie. I think it's going to be good. They also have was it DJ Moore is their other big receiver in Chicago. So he's likely to see the double team. Give me Rome Odunze as a rookie, as a sleeper.
Not bad.
All right.
I mean, all right. So for me, my second one is Jameson Williams, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. And what I'm getting at here, look, this is a former high first round pick. Missed most of his first season due to injury. But has done things like come back and, you know, his first play, he scored like a 40-yard touchdown. And, you know, the first play in the championship game against the 49ers, he busted one off for a touchdown. He's a big play guy who's got a really good pedigree. I think he's an Alabama guy. Was he? Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. He is. I think you're right.
Yeah. And, you know, I just think that, you know, if the Lions are smart, okay, if they're smart, part of the reason why they lost in that championship game was some drops from their no-name receivers.
I think Williams dropped a big.
I don't think so.
Too.
No, I think it was Reynolds.
Anyway, I like him. I like him. Go ahead.
Yeah,
no, Jameson Williams. Is he the guy? He's the guy that went. No, is he the guy that went to Ohio State? Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy from Alabama. Is the
Jahmyr Gibbs? Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah.
I still think he's Alabama, Rube.
He did transfer to Alabama in 2021. You're right. So both of their running backs are Alabama guys. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, my thought is that and I also read some reports, they're expecting big things from him this year because it's the first year that he's healthy. And look, you basically have Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to get he's going to get you your 110 catches. He's going to get your double teams. And now you're moving Jameson Williams into that wide receiver 2 mode. And I think his main task is going to be go long. So I think you're going to see a big year from Jameson Williams. I mean, maybe not necessarily like the 1,000 yards, but it's not going to shock me if he's got like 8 or 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, so he's a good wide receiver 2 or 3 option. And again, on our roster. There you go.
Could you imagine? I mean, listen, we started talking about Detroit, like, hey, can they do it again? You got Williams, wide receiver 2. You got Amon-Ra Brown, wide receiver 1. You have Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball, and you got Sam Laporta, who looks like a stud. They're gonna be
Right.
tough to
Yeah.
stop. They're gonna be tough to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to change your predictions? Are you going to stick with them?
All right, Rube. Your third sleeper, and I gotta be honest, I got the list beforehand. I don't know, buddy. I don't know about this one.
Well, another rookie, this time a quarterback, who will definitely be starting by week 5, no later than week 6. Give me Drake May. I like
Oh,
him.
boy.
He's got
Oh,
moxie.
my
I don't know who he's going to
God.
throw the ball to, but
Right.
you asked for a sleeper. He's not a starter
Yeah, I
yet.
think he's not a sleeper. I think he's in a coma.
I don't know.
I can't.
Boy,
I don't even know. I don't even know what to do.
I don't know. Drake May kind of like screams to me like Daniel Jones, Mitch Trubisky.
Drake May screams to me Mac Jones. Why did you even draft a
Mac
quarterback?
Jones.
Yeah, just keep Mac Jones.
Now, look, we could be completely wrong.
Yeah, he could come out and fire 300 yards.
Maybe he's going to be awesome. We really don't know.
No.
But it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
On our side of the fence.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
But you're feeling it. You're feeling it, Rube. Well, we got to respect it. We got to respect
You're
that.
putting them on the table, Rube. That's
I'm
good.
putting it on the table.
There you go.
My third guy is receiver for the Seahawks, Jackson Smith Njigba.
Hey, can you say that again, please?
I don't think so.
Njigba.
Njigba. Yeah, so this guy, first round wide receiver, this guy out of Ohio State. And, he was injured for the first half of last year, came on towards the end of the year. I believe he caught a game-winning pass against the Eagles. Ouch. But, this is a guy, one of the reasons why I see a big year coming for him is because he's going to get time because he was a first-round pick. And in the last 1-2 years, Tyler Lockett has really kind of taken a step back. So I see DK Metcalf as your true number 1. I see Jackson Smith Njigba. I see him taking over the wide receiver 2 role and scoring some TDs.
It's really good. This isn't a network show.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Schwabi, let me ask, who's throwing Jackson Smith and Njigba to the ball?
It's going to be that Geno Smith.
Say no more.
Yes.
Hey, the pride of West Virginia.
The quarterback for Seattle is Geno Samita.
Hey, correct me if I'm right or wrong. Geno Smith has been a Pro Bowl player.
Yes, he has. He has.
Yes.
Okay, listen, boys, we're coming up against our usual finish time here, and we got a lot more to go.
Well, that's all we got for this.
So we're gonna have to. We might have to cut something off here. So let's go real quick to page 4 on the Sports Porch Philadelphia. Hey man, the Phillies. What did they take 3 or 4 from the Braves?
3 or 4 from the Braves.
Excellent work.
Up 7 with 25 games to go, something like that.
Right.
So it's feeling good. You just gotta love Casty. Castellanos. The Phillies have 8 walk-offs this year. Casty's got 4 of them.
Well, Schwabi, last week when we last spoke on the Sports Porch Philadelphia, you said, listen, if they come back, if they end this next set of 7 games 5-2,
Right.
4-3, whatever it is. What was the 5-2? We got to go back to the tape, but I think ecstatic.
Yeah, 5-2, fantastic.
Mhm.
4-3, like
Okay.
satisfied, and like 2-5, I would consider harming myself.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty much what it was.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Did,
So
did
we,
you?
we we know that you're out of danger.
We
now.
got the 5-2.
Yeah, you're out of danger.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the only negatives that I see with the team right now are Harper is hitting again, but lack of power. And I have read some reports that he's playing through an elbow and a wrist injury, so that could have something to do with it. Um, Schwarber's cold right now, and Ranger came back, pitched great in the first game. Second game didn't pitch that well. So those are the question marks. But Wheeler and Nola have been excellent. Sanchez, for the most part, has been very good. The bullpen's been phenomenal. Estevez has really given them, a boost. I'll tell you, man, it's really hard when you come in extra innings with the ghost runner on second base. I mean, Estevez last night, 2 innings scoreless with a guy on second to start the inning. Excellent. Hoffman's just like unhittable. Now Strom, he struggled a little bit in the last game, but most of the time he's pretty unhittable too. I mean, you're talking about like three guys that have like, I think Hoffman's got a 192. Um, what's the lefty? Who's the lefty? I just lost his name.
Keckering,
Um,
Ryan Keckering.
Oh yeah, and Ryan Keckering's got a 2.2. Estevez got a 2.2, and the
Alvarado.
lefty. No, not Alvarado. The other lefty. Strom's got like a 2.02 or something. So
I had
they're
no doubt.
really.
I had no doubt when Strom pitched his way into trouble last night. I
Mhm.
really
It
felt
was.
like he was going to pitch himself out of it. I wasn't sweating too much.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I think the bullpen's been really, really good. And if you know, I don't. Do we miss Alvarado that much? Has he been pitching? Has he been hurt?
No. Actually, he was on personal leave.
Oh, that's right.
So
That's right.
yeah, he went back to Venezuela. He had some sort of family issue, and that's kind of interesting because I wonder if that has anything to do with why he's been pitching poorly. Um, but he's back. I mean, look, at this point, I got to be honest with you. At this point, you don't even need to put him out there. You really don't.
I
So
agree.
I think in the rest of this season, see if he can get it back. If he can get it back, great. He's another guy to use in the bullpen in the playoffs. If he can't get it back, move on. We got like 4 studs out there.
Yeah. Here's the other thing I've been thinking about the Phillies. And I'm trying to think, I'm trying to determine whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's a good thing. But man, it's someone different every night. And if we could just
Mhm.
get everybody hit, like Casty's been, has been very good, although he looked terrible in the ninth when he swung at those 3 sliders outside. And then he comes back and he gets a big hit. So he's been good. Marsh will have a hit every now and again. Um, but man, if we can get Stott hitting again, if we could get Turner hitting again, if Schwarber starts hitting for power, and yeah, I mean Harper, golly, what's it been 20 games without a home run? That's a little bit scary.
Right.
But if we could get everybody hitting, and we don't need a hero every night, I think we're going to be that much more dangerous.
Yeah, I also think too that like in some ways maybe it's not such a bad thing that some of the big guys are not hitting that great right now because the reality is, I mean, to win the World Series from that point that you start the playoffs, you pretty much got to be on a 3 week, you know,
hot streak.
hot
Yeah.
streak. So you get on a hot streak now, you could be cold the second the playoffs start.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Taking 3
Yeah.
out of 4 from Atlanta is a good sign.
Yep.
And we're getting into the latter part of the season. The Phillies are only 1 game away from locking in another winning season. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
milestone, even though it seems like a foregone conclusion at this point.
Right.
And with the 7-game lead, I mean, you just got to look at staying healthy and continuing to play well. And exactly as you said, just because these guys aren't really hitting right now, it's not that you don't want them to be in a slump, but hey, look, they're going to start hitting again. And you just hope that whenever that is, carries over into the playoffs.
I also think, too, it is important to get the 1 or 2 seed. I think it's important not to have to win another series. I know that, you could take the opposite approach and say, well, then, the teams that take the series off, like the Braves last year, they go cold because they're not playing for a week or whatever. But I just don't really believe in that. I think that, part of the reason why the Phillies haven't won the World Series the last 2 years is because they got to win 4 series, and it's a lot easier if you only have to win 3.
Yeah. We saw it, right? The bats, we'd go on a 2.5 week tear at the bats. Then, we fall apart against Atlanta or Arizona. And the year before, we couldn't do anything in the World Series. So I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yep.
All right, boys. Well, listen, this is about as much time as we're going to have. So we'll push what we're watching the next week. Does that sound good?
Okay. We'll do that.
All right. All right. So we got our NFL predictions in.
We got it all. This time next week, we could be talking about those 1-0 Birds.
Yeah, hopefully.
We hope so.
All right, for the Grand Schwabini, for Rube, for your technical director, for everybody out there in Philadelphia, this has been the Philadelphia Sports Porch. You're watching it live currently as we finish up on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And as soon as this show's over, man, I'm going to drop that podcast in the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcast. There you go. I threw a loop at you, Schwaber. And of course, you can always follow the Sports Porch Philadelphia on YouTube at Sports Porch Philadelphia. I am your technical director. Thanks for being here again, Rube. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you, guys. Great being here.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody.
We are out.